Hi YouTube. It's been a minute. It's Dawn with Dawn, Ohio Sunny Gardener. And in my first video, I had told you that this was my first big garden. I did a 50 by 50. And let me tell you, between doing some videos and kids, harvesting, and trying to decorate all of the dreams in the garden, it's been a challenge, and I am here to tell you that we are actually adding more beds. We are not adding any more footage this year. I think that it's big enough for my plan, and we have tilled just the ground. We're not working, but we are putting in 3 to 4 more beds, raised beds in the garden. I have tried a few different things, as you have seen. I did the trellising for the beans. I did trellises for the melons that we're growing also, and we did till for all the tomatoes. We did just a no-till. We did till a few beds. Then I also have a few raised beds, and then I've also got the pallet that we used as a trellis as well. So we have many different things going on in the garden to figure out what I actually want to use in the garden, and I think that it's going to be the raised beds for several reasons. We have, our plan is to feed our family for a whole year with the harvesting of the garden, and knowing now that what I know now with the harvesting of everything, it definitely is a work, but I love it. It's a challenge, and I'm gonna do it. So the raised beds is how I want to go. A couple of reasons. The first reason is the weeds. We have 3 beds, and they are so easy to weed and so easy to maintain, and that's one reason. The other reason is it's more contained, and I told you in the videos where I have the melons and the zucchinis placed out in the same, I want to make enough beds where I can separate those, because cross-pollination did happen in the garden this year, and that was one of the things that I wanted to figure out. And I've got a butternut zucchini laying over there in the garden. So with that said, I've got to figure out a way to keep things separate, and I think that's a way to go. I do have peppers as well. I put all my peppers in the same bed, and I have picked a very hot pepper, and it was not hot. I picked an imposter, which is not supposed to be hot. It looks like it would be very hot, but it's not, and it's now hot. So some of my things are cross-pollinating, but I still am using them. There's lots of different uses, so it's not a total fail. I just am learning what to plant with and what not to plant. And so my tomatoes are actually we tilled. We did not put them in a bed. We didn't do anything to. So first off, I want to show you that one. I want to show you how we did the tomatoes. It'll be slightly different next year, but for the most part, I did have success with this, and the tomatoes are just going so strong. Okay, so the kind of trellising that we did for our tomatoes was kind of a mixture of a few different ways. We did trellis them with string, and we did not do the weave, but we did use some clips that we just hung off, some wire that we had hung 6 feet high. Kind of the issue with that is we had to put some poles in the middle, because once it started weighting down with all of these big heavy tomatoes, we actually had to put these poles in, because I was so afraid that it was going to end up hitting me or coming off the wooden stakes that we have them on. So I'll kind of show you that here. We've got some turn cables, and I was so afraid with the weight and everything of the tomatoes that it was going to actually shoot out. So for protection and safety, we did put some double stakes up, and that was our first trellising. Okay, my second trellising was the cherry tomatoes. We actually put up 2 cattle panels, and they're just kind of weaving in and out of them, which works really well, I think. I've got some gobstoppers in there. I've got sun golds, which are so yummy. These little guys. And then I have got some 100s in here as well. The next trellising, I used some bamboo sticks for the cherry tomatoes. Those worked really well. They didn't get, obviously, they're indeterminate tomatoes, so they can grow as tall as you give them room to, but I just used the bamboo sticks, and those are working out really well. So my pepper bed is here, and like I said, this is going to be one of my top choices to do next year, but very minimal weed picking. But I'm just going to have to put a few more beds in to separate the hot versus the non. Okay, here, this actually is a multi-functioning bed, but I will tell you, it has some successes and it's got some failures. So the way that we did the garden, north to south, south to north, the way that it sits, these trellises I put up for all of the zucchini, squash, and melons to vine on. As you can see, they are all out. They did not trellis up. I tried to train them. I think that if I would have done a little bit better job daily, I think that they would have, but and it's still producing, so that wasn't the fail. The fail was I put potatoes in the middle just to see if they would grow. Unfortunately, they did not, due to the lack of sun, because my original plan was all these were going to grow on the trellis and things would be perfect and I could get potatoes in here, but that did not work. And one of the other successes, I did plant some carrots, and they are actually doing pretty good. So that worked out. I had the potatoes at one end and the carrots at another. The carrots are doing super. Then I have the old-fashioned tomato cages. These are my Rio tomatoes, and they're doing super. Look at those. Oh man, that's probably like 12 on there. I'm gonna do my husband's salsa with this, and those should be ready to harvest. And then, so over here, it's kind of a raised bed, but it kind of wasn't. It was something that I tried. This was my first thing that I planted, and that was my potatoes. They're already harvested out, and I actually have some cabbage and cauliflower growing from seed and getting ready to plant those. And then this is my third session of carrots, and I've got about 4 rows here, and my other trellis of my beans. So I do have several different ways of growing foods, but I think my preference between the trellises and the raised beds, that's going to be the route that I'm going to go. So here is my big space that we are going to add more beds to. And here so I've got one bed gonna go in there, another bed here, and then if you turn, those are my peppers, and soon one here and possibly one here. So definitely pretty busy on this side of harvesting. It's been so crazy. Harvesting is all I can say that is being done. And oh, these tomatoes look wonderful. Okay guys, well, our time is up. I'm going to actually get out here and harvest some more tomatoes and green beans. Please subscribe and like. Until next time, thank you.